Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Bird Brothers. Two brothers in Ohio, lifelong Eagles fans. We caught the bug from our dad. We're going to talk today about Eagles Commanders, maybe a little bit of NFL draft. Right now, we're projected to have the sixth overall pick from the Saints trade, and then might just start freestyling. We're going to probably change up the format a little bit and just kind of talk Eagles football once a week rather than matchup specific because let's be honest, what is there to really talk about with the Washington Commanders, Ryan?
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
you always got to be careful, but
yeah,
we should be able to handle business.
yeah. I feel the same way about them as I feel with the Texans, but the Texans gave us a little bit of a run. I didn't at any point feel like, oh, we're going to lose this game, but like, still very frustrating to watch. I want to deal with adversity, but not like that, where we're letting a bad team run down the middle of the field all game and we're not adjusting. Um, And the Jordan Davis thing, obviously, he's a huge help, but I think that's a little bit of a cop out. We still have Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, Milton Williams. Like, we have a very deep defensive line. So that's kind of the idea. Losing one of them, we shouldn't notice a huge drop off because that's why we build these lines. That's why we're going to see some, but we shouldn't see, oh, you go from, a top three against the run to, oh, we don't know what we're doing. And which I like Dameon Pierce. Dameon Pierce, I think, is a good running back. Um, but their offensive line's not good there. And outside of him and Brandon Cooks, there's not a lot of talent on that offense. I think they have a good tackle, but
Tunsil.
yeah, Tunsil's solid, but I think Titus Howard is decent, pretty solid. But yeah, I don't feel super scared, but I think Washington's built way better than Houston for sure. They have a ton of talent at receiver. Um, I don't know. Is Chase Young playing now?
I think he's going to play a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be like full time. I think he'll
Guess
probably get like
not. No.
a package. Like if he
Yeah.
plays, it'll be some kind of a limited role.
Yeah. So yeah, they don't scare me a ton, but it is like we always say, it's the NFL. You can lose to anybody any week. Um, so hopefully we come out and actually just stick to what we know and stop the run. They have a few solid backs as well. It's going to be Heineke for a while, and maybe the rest of the season. I don't know that they're going to go back to Carson when he's healthy, but yeah, I think it should be a fun game to watch. Hopefully, put up some points. Prime time's always fun. So yeah, that's my
I,
take for the
I feel like prime time is less fun now that I have three kids.
it is.
I
It is
want
indeed.
every game to be Sunday, like 1 o'clock, man. That's like perfect for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to. It is. Yeah, the older you get, the less you like primetime games. But then I think once our kids are grown, I'll probably go back to liking prime because it's like I don't know. You got like get up at 5:45 for work, so I got to stay up till midnight watching the game, and then it's a lot. Uh, and I don't know. The primetime games this year have been kind of a letdown. Mostly Thursday night. Thursday night games are just awful this year. Uh, every like I remember literally like I'm making a joke with a guy at work where it's like he's like, oh, who's playing this week? Texans, this, and like you look at it, it's like Panthers, Falcon, everyone's like losing record versus losing record except for a few. Like, and I was like, man, did you guys really think the Falcons were going to be good? You scheduled this, and you're like, yeah, they don't have a quarterback, but like, or a defense or receivers, but they have Kyle Pitts. It's like, yeah, the primetime games have been a letdown for sure. But yeah, still fun to watch. I hate waiting until Monday, going through a full Sunday without Eagles football, but uh, watch some other games that you normally wouldn't watch.
Yeah, we'll have it on today. We're doing our family Thanksgiving today because there's so many other events to attend to. So
Yeah.
we'll have some games on, and yeah, we'll watch. We'll find somebody to watch. Um, yeah, I've kind of noticed that this year with Thursday night football for the first time ever. Like, and I think it might have been kind of planted in my brain. Like I heard people talking about. I think I heard
Right.
John McMullen talking about how terrible Thursday night football is, and like the product's not good. And Um, I don't know. I mean, I never really paid that much attention. I never like felt dissatisfied watching Thursday night football, but last week was kind of strange for me because I was really, really tired. It was like the first Eagles game I've fallen asleep in. I fell asleep like somewhere like mid to late third quarter, I think. And then I woke up with like 5 minutes left. It's the first time I've fallen asleep during a game in like years. So it was kind of weird. It was weird watching it too. It was just like a weird. It did seem kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
The one play where Hurts got strip sacked, where the ball snapped, nobody else was moving. Like everybody was off timing, and like it looks like a play they would whistle dead.
Yeah.
They didn't. Um, but anyways, I'm looking forward to it. Eagles are having a tremendous year, very well balanced. So let me ask you this. I heard somebody talking about people are still kind of doubting Jalen Hurts. And I'm not like, bought his jersey and,
Right.
completely invested, but it's only been half of a year. But he has won 11 straight regular season games, 11 or 12.
Right.
No Eagles ever done that. I guess there was a clip of Dan Orlovsky saying, well, the Eagles are just such a good football team that any quarterback could be doing this with Philadelphia. That's just how good their roster is. Like, so he's kind of saying how good the Eagles roster is, but throwing Jalen under the bus. And
Right.
I'd like to mention, you mentioned the Falcons. I was watching that game the other night, and I was watching Mariota. I was like, you know what? I kind of like Mariota. I was thinking he'd be a great backup for what we do. I feel like he could run what we do as a backup. Then I started seeing him, defenders grabbing hold of him, pull him to the ground. He's about to hit the ground, throws the ball up in the air, intercepted, like throwing the ball up for grabs. I saw him do it twice, and I didn't even watch a full half of football. I'm like, oh, that's the thing I think so special about Jalen so far is he doesn't make the mistakes. Like he's not on pace for 52 touchdowns like Patrick Mahomes, but he doesn't turn the ball over, and he does what we do really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I'm same way. I'm not completely sold on him. I love what I'm seeing. He's obviously developed. I do think there's some merit to what he says about our roster is so loaded that not any quarterback, but it does make a quarterback look better. It's just a scheme you run, and that's the idea. That's how every coach and every owner should look at their team. It's like, okay, this is the quarterback we're going to run with. How can we make him better? Obviously, we can teach him, we can progress his talents, but let's put things around him. Like that, the sky's the limit with certain people, man. If they're willing to work for it and you just keep building, but the turnover thing is huge. That's a big improvement. He's not a guy who's just going to throw the ball around. He doesn't seem fidgety. He's not he's not breaking a clean pocket. But like one guy to bring up, Tom Brady, they talk about him like he's lost it, he's done. Because their division's poor right now, is like they're in first place, but he's also thrown like one interception. He doesn't turn the ball over. Their biggest thing is they got to figure out their red zone. They're not scoring in the red zone, and normally Tom Brady's, like I don't know, something crazy, 75% or something in the red zone. So he's not doing it this year. So I do think there is, like I said, some merit to what he's saying, but I also have seen tremendous improvements. I mean, they've shown him during the games where his shoulders are straight and they're even. They're not he's not leaning back. He's not escaping out of the pocket backwards. He's stepping in. I do think that needs to improve more, and hopefully it will, because there's times where he kind of just hits the back of the pocket and stays, and then throws. Like sometimes he needs to climb it a little more. But yeah, I'm happy with what I'm seeing. It's his second year. Really his first year starting. He started last year, but it was just, I don't know, just a little bit different. Didn't really seem like they were invested. They went out and got talent around them, and they're going to see what they have, which is what most teams should do. Throw them to the wolves, put talent around them. You can't throw someone out there and give them no talent and then expect them to put up huge numbers. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely happy with what I'm seeing. He's doing what he's being asked to do. He's running RPO. He's making good decisions. majority of the time on the reads.
Yeah.
Uh, I would like to see him spread it around a little more. Um, I want Devontae Smith involved, man. The guy can play, and I just feel like we're not. And I don't know if it's the plays we're designing. Maybe Devontae's a decoy on a lot of them, but uh, I don't want to become one-dimensional in the passing game where we're only looking for AJ Brown. Because then it's like, then when we need Devontae Smith, we're gonna have to start. Okay, now we can't throw to AJ Brown. Or I do think AJ Brown will be open. I don't think there's anyone that can really guard him one-on-one consistently. Um, but I'd like to see him pass it around a little more. Moved the ball to Goddard last week, but I'd like to see Devontae get a little more involved.
Yeah, I think Devontae is, I think Devontae is a superstar. And it's odd, it's unusual to have a superstar as your number 2 wide receiver. I don't think he's reached his full potential. I think AJ Brown's a superstar.
Yeah,
Dallas Goddard, all of these guys, you know, AJ Brown's in the discussion as a top 5 wide receiver. Dallas Goddard's in the discussion as a top 5 tight end.
yeah,
Devontae Smith has that type of potential, at least a top 10 wide receiver potential, maybe better. So I think part of it's just a result of. Also, I heard that we still run the ball 51% of the time,
yeah,
throw the ball 49% of the time. So that's part of it, because you're paying AJ Brown 100 million
yeah,
right now. He's the better player than Devontae. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
according to what we see, what I can see, and so he's the third option. But last time we played Washington, he went off. Um, so yeah, I'm not too worried about Devontae, but I think that it is. I think you're right. I think it would be good to include him a little bit
Yeah,
more. I'd like to, of course, see more spreading the ball around, but I think teams sometimes try to take things away. So I still feel like if I was trying to beat the Eagles, I would. I mean, this is scary because you got to play these receivers one on one, and if you don't have the
yeah,
corners to do it, most don't. It's very scary. But I would still try to take away the running game. I
yeah,
would still smother Jalen, and I would still make him make the plays, specifically the throws.
yeah,
Um, so as the season progresses, I'm curious to see. Remember we talked about how the biggest thing we thought we were lacking was like um, handling the blitz.
yeah.
Like we didn't have hot reads. We didn't have like hot reads built in, and we were. It's like, oh, they're blitzing, and then we can
Right,
see before the snap they blitz, and it's a disaster. It's like, what are we doing? I guess
right.
it was an emphasis of something to work on during the bye week. They said so.
I hope so. I mean, we went through that with like there was times with like Carson wouldn't even do it where you'd see that guy fly up to the line like trying to time it, not like you can tell he's not bluffing, like he's trying to time your snap so you can get full steam ahead, but and we would just he would kind of like see him coming and just snap it anyway, and it's like the guy would fly around the edge untouched, and it's like man what like, and I feel like Jalen's doing a good job of kind of stopping and like waiting and like you'll see Kelsey call stuff out, but then it's like they snap it and we don't have the coverage. Like they're coming through untouched, and you're like, man, like we saw it, we called it out, but we're not picking the blitz up. So I do think teams are going to start blitzing more and more against us. I think that's their best bet is see what Jalen Hurts has, load the box, and just blitz and bring a lot of pressure. And you're going to have to either get to him or you're going to have to cover AJ Brown.
Yeah, on a
Uh,
50-50 ball.
yeah. I mean,
That's
it's,
scary.
yeah,
That's hard, and we've been
yeah,
hitting those too. So that's what's encouraging. Like if we weren't hitting any deep balls, that's the thing about Jalen. He's not turning it over, and he's not just a game manager.
no.
He's taking
He's
shots
getting
down the
very
field.
good throws.
He's towing that line, dude, like of aggressive and safe. And
Yeah.
Carson did a very good job of it his second year. He threw, 30 some touchdowns and 7 interceptions, and he was making a lot of plays, but not making a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
That's what you want, man. So I'm excited about Jalen, excited about his potential. Even more so, man, just about his mindset. Like I hear in so many Eagles interviews now, like guys saying things like, well, it's not really about the opponent. It's always about us. If we
Yeah.
control what we can control, you know, and it's just like permeating the entire team, I think. That mindset of control what we can control. Um,
I mean, it's the idea with everything. Like if you go to work and you're pissed off about what everyone else is doing, it ruins your day. But if you just go in and, do your job, don't worry about everything else around you. Do your job and everything will fall together. If other people if everyone has that mindset, it works.
yeah,
Um,
Nick
yeah,
Saban says something like that at Alabama. He says, "Dominate your box." You know, dominate your box, dominate your matchup, and yeah, if you just get focused on what your responsibility is, it
yeah,
gets simpler. Football and life. Um, let's talk about the NFL draft a little bit, man. We're both draft nerds. Um, right now, last I heard, we're slotted to have the 6th overall pick
yeah,
because the Saints were just overly aggressive moving up in the draft.
yeah,
I don't know what they thought they were going to land by doing that, but they traded a lot of picks, a lot of future picks and value to us to move up a couple spots. They ended up taking Chris Olave, who I think's a good player.
yeah.
I think he could be one of the best deep threats in the league. Um, but they don't even have the quarterback situation ironed out fully.
No.
So it's bizarre to me. But at number 6, I know this early, but are there any players that like you are really excited about that? Because at that in the top 10 like that, that's where you really have a chance at like blue chip prospects.
Right. I mean, there's guys I like, but we do have a very well built team. And I'm not saying we don't need anything, but there's positions that fall around there right now on mock drafts and things. And I haven't looked at the actual mock drafts for a few weeks, so things could have changed. But Will Anderson is a guy that everyone loves, but he's projected probably first pick, second pick, third. But again, that's going to depend on who's picking there. If it's the Lions and they continue to lose, they got to look elsewhere. They got to look at a quarterback. Will they? I don't know. We don't even know if Dan Campbell will be there. So yeah, Will Anderson would be amazing if we can move up a couple spots and then 2 quarterback hungry teams come up. That's a perfect matchup or a perfect world for us. But there's the corner Eli Ricks. Seems to be pretty solid. He goes around. Last time I saw was anywhere from like 5 to 9, 5 to 10.
You play for Alabama?
Yes, there's 2 corners.
Ringo's the other one, right?
Yeah, Ringo.
He's for Georgia.
Yeah,
he looks
there's
good.
2 corners. Yeah, there's 2 corners that are up there. I don't know that we don't need corner. We're playing very well. We have 2 of the top, but it's like one of those things where it's like, is Bradbury going to play at this level for the rest of this year? And is he going to play like that next year? And Slay's getting older, so that could be an option. We don't need tackles. I would hate to draft an offensive tackle, even though there's one there. But I don't know, man. It's tough. It's crazy because it's kind of a tough spot. You should go receiver and get richer. The rich get richer. Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he ever gets healthy and plays. I'm not sure about Marvin Harrison Jr. is lighting the world on fire at Ohio State right now. I don't know if you saw his catch yesterday on the sideline.
I don't think he's draft eligible.
Yeah, that's why I don't think he is. I was thinking he's a next year guy, but
he's a true sophomore, I think.
Yeah, it's nuts.
I heard Joel Klatt say he thinks Marvin Harrison is the best receiver in the country, and in a couple of years has the chance to be the best receiver in the world. That's what he said.
I mean, right now he's definitely. I mean, he's got to be considered a top receiver in the nation, like in college.
Oh yeah.
But Yeah, he's making some crazy plays. But yeah, it's kind of tough, man. I think they'll honestly, I think they'll go D line if they stay like if everything fell right now. If the draft was tomorrow, I think they'd go D line. The guy from Georgia, and then what's the Brian Breesy, defensive tackle. Um, it'd be funny to draft another defensive tackle, early first, but if
Sure.
it works, man.
Hey, you get those are important positions, and you got two studs.
Yeah,
Um, you know, Davis is they have a potential for him to be a pass rusher, but he's more of a run stuffer right now. Jalen Carter
yeah,
and Brian Breezy. Breezy was
yeah,
like the number one overall player coming out of high school, and they can rush the passer. And
yeah, for
you have
sure.
those guys on rookie deals.
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I'd like a guy like Brian Breesy. If he falls there around there, Jalen Carter. Um, but obviously it's really early, and we don't know what we could have. The 18th pick if the Saints go on a little run. So it can definitely change. Things can change quickly,
Sure.
but I don't think the Saints are going to do anything crazy. I think we're going to end up with a top 10 pick, just because they don't even know who they want to play quarterback.
And we
I
could
guess,
trade back.
yeah, yeah, use it as ammunition to make another move in the offseason or just trade back and acquire more picks, which I don't think would be a bad idea. I mean, if you
Yeah.
move back 5, 6 spots, you can potentially do again what you did, pick up another first for next year. Um, or if you have guys, there's guys I like, and I haven't even done. Normally I do more, but once we start getting closer to the draft, I think like January, February, I'll start really like looking in, taking a deep dive into the draft. Um, but Joey Porter
Yep.
Jr. corner, I like him. And for some reason, I feel like he's being undervalued right now. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of guys, man. There's that receiver for Texas. I think it's something Johnston. He's like 6'4", and he's projected. They think he's a sub 4.4 guy. Um, so just interesting stuff like that. There's a lot, and things are going to change drastically from here on out. Injuries are going to happen in college, and you know, like I said, it all depends on what happens with the Saints. But I don't expect the Saints to do a whole lot. I think they're gonna be around, excuse me, a top 10-ish pick.
Yeah.
Because each week it looks like they don't know who they want, whether it's Jameis or Andy Dalton. So
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be exciting. I think that with a pick like that, you've definitely got to take a premier position. If you're gonna take a pick, you got
yeah,
to take a premier player like edge rusher, potentially a tackle, but I wouldn't want to see a tackle either because I don't want a tackle to sit behind Lane Johnson for two to
no,
3 years, or maybe longer. Like I'm
right,
going to draft a tackle if Lane's going to play 4 more years. I don't want to draft a tackle in the first round. I just don't like that. And offensive line is not a thing where you rotate guys. So Andre Dillard, like first round pick. I know we got Jordan Mailata, and Mailata's better, but Dillard gave us like no production hardly, and I
right,
don't like that. You can't have that happen with first round picks. So corner, an edge rusher is always good. Brandon Graham's getting old. Fletcher Cox is getting old. Um, Darius Slay, Bradbury's on a 1 year deal. So every year you kind of like got to take your salary cap and like shift things around. Like I don't think Fletcher Cox will be back next year. Um, he's making 13 or 15 million this year.
yeah,
Bradbury's making 10 million. Maybe they'll bring back Bradbury. It just depends on what opportunities, present themselves. Maybe they can get a corner high and he can slot in for Bradbury. Um, but I think we both kind of agree on building inside out.
yeah,
I would love Brian Breezy, Jalen Carter. I mean, there was talk about Jalen Carter being the best defensive lineman on Georgia's football team last year.
right,
And they had the number one
crazy,
overall pick and Jordan Davis, first round guys, and if you watch him, he's a big, fast, strong, explosive athlete. You could
yeah,
probably play him inside and outside. So those dudes can take over games, man. Like they're right in the quarterback's grill.
Guy we forgot, Miles Murphy,
Yeah.
Clemson.
Yep.
He's he could be a stud edge rusher. I think he might be a blue chip guy. But
Yeah. And we have
yeah,
a legitimate shot at those guys if we're at
yeah,
6.
yeah, for sure. There's enough of them. I mean, that's 3 guys right there that would have to get, like, say we have 6, 3 guys right there outside of Will Anderson that I would be happy with. So between Carter, Murphy, and Breesy.
And Stroud, Bryce Hall, you assume they're going to be top 5 picks, maybe top 2, top 3. Will Levis, the Kentucky quarterback. And then, there's always that run. There's always that like quarterback that rises from like, well, he was projected as like a second rounder or late first.
Right.
Maybe. Now he's a
Probably,
top 10 pick.
Probably Florida. I'm guessing the kid from Florida.
Anthony Richardson.
Yeah. Maybe Will Levis, but
Piper's got him ranked pretty high right now. I think
Yeah.
this is number 2 quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know a lot about him. I think he's played pretty well, but I don't think they're in the same ballpark as Stroud and Young. If they go to the right teams, if you send them off to the Texans and Brandon Cooks is gone in the offseason and they don't go get anybody, and it's just Damian Pierce.
What do you think about CJ Stroud? Because before this year, all this uncertainty about Jalen and like I don't know, he can't be really doing anything else better.
I think they're both solid. Yeah, I think they're both good. I don't love either of them. I wouldn't be happy like if I don't know, say, hopefully this doesn't happen, but say we took a turn and Jalen looked horrible the rest of the year and then quarterback talk started to happen. I wouldn't be happy with either of them in the early first. I like we're Ohio State fans living in Ohio, but like he has Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jigba, Julian Fleming, like one of the best offensive lines, 2 top running backs. So stuff like that scares me when I see, like, same with Bama guys. Like, how many Bama guys do we see running backs come out and you're just kind of waiting to see if he is what he is, like was in college. And it's like he ran behind the best offensive line. College is different because you don't always play, top tier opponents. Most of the time you're blowing. The Big Ten's pretty awful. So it scares me a little bit. It's like I gave you the best receivers in the nation, one of the best offensive lines, and you're playing a shitty division. It's like you should put up huge numbers, but can you do that when you don't have the top receivers? If you go to a team like the Texans and Brandon Cooks is gone and you come in and you're just kind of dealing with what you have, like maybe they go out and get, some middle of the road receiver in free agency. But so I wouldn't love either of them early on. And hopefully Jalen just keeps rolling what he's doing and developing. But I'd rather take a flyer on a later round guy. Not late, but like a 3rd rounder. Try to find a guy that has, things you can't teach. He's a big body, big arm. He's put up decent numbers, but he went to a small school. Or there's a guy from Coastal Carolina. Yeah, someone where he has the stuff you can't teach. Didn't go to a huge school, didn't have a ton of talent around him, and see what you have. And I'm not trying to like recreate Josh Allen, where you find this massive arm, big body guy, but something like that. I think I'd rather take a flyer on that and not spend the huge draft capital. And then if you don't hit on him in the 3rd or 4th round, there's always next year. And you got to have that mentality. I think when you're building a team, you can't. It's not Madden. You can't go sign 4 guys in free agency that are going to change your team, trade up and get 2 first rounders, and then like it just doesn't work like that. So it's got to be a patience thing. But there's a kid from Coastal Carolina that I like. I think he's projected like maybe early 3rd.
Quarterback?
Yeah, his name's like I can't think of his name right now, but yeah, I would rather take a flyer on someone like that. Or
are you talking about for the Eagles?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you're a quarterback needy team, I don't love either of those guys, Stroud or Young, and I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe they come in and they make a run for MVP in their first year or two. Like, I don't know, but that type of talent around a quarterback scares me in college when your opponents aren't top tier every week.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the perfect scenario to just light the world on fire, throw for 5,000 yards, and that's everything is in your favor. So when you put them in the NFL on potentially one of the worst teams in the league, how do they respond? Like, do they have the character? Do they have so that's, I don't love either of them, but yeah, I don't know. It's always be wrong, man. I didn't love Josh Allen. Obviously, we knew he had arm strength, he had size, but he didn't look good at Wyoming. But now he's, arguably one of the best quarterbacks, or not arguably the best, but I would say right now he's my favorite quarterback. If I'm taking one quarterback in the NFL, I'm taking Josh Allen.
He is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He's a very, very good player. I don't think the league's really ever seen a player like him.
No, not really.
Special. Yeah, so I mean, when we drafted Hurts, I wasn't excited, but I was wrong, and I'm happy when I'm wrong. And the Eagles, proved me wrong. I'm happy. I wasn't a big Josh Allen fan either coming out. I thought it was a big projection. I liked Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen was my favorite quarterback in that class. That was Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen. Josh Allen's the best.
Yeah.
PFF had Baker Mayfield like the highest rated quarterback ever in college.
I never bought into all that hype, man. I like Baker. I still think Baker can play, but I didn't. Of course, it's the Browns. Like, the Browns go out and spend the first overall pick on him, and I didn't like him at first overall. I thought you could have got him later, but I don't know. I like Baker, but again, first overall is a huge, huge, huge pick, man. If you can get an edge rusher that's going to give you 10 sacks, 12 sacks, 15 sacks a year for the next 5 years, like.
Yeah, it's like, it seems like teams try to, like, you can't force a guy to be something. And like taking a quarterback high, I know you have to take quarterbacks high sometimes.
Yeah.
But it seems like their teams are so aggressive about it. It's like you can't, like, taking him high, like,
it doesn't make him a better player.
Do anything. It's not going to change him as a person, how he thinks, how he leads, how well he knows himself. These are the things I love about Jalen, man. Like, the leadership, the work ethic, the mindset is all there, and I keep saying it. That's what made Brady great. It wasn't just talent. So Jalen, I think, will reach his full potential. Will Carson Wentz? No. Why?
Yeah.
I would say probably because he doesn't want to. I mean, he's just had his career's just fallen apart, and I don't understand what else there is to say about it. You could say injuries, but it's a mindset thing because he's got more prototypical quarterback traits than Jalen, than a lot of guys, but he can't play. So I'm pleased with Jalen. I really see a lot of overlap, dude, with like the beginning of Russell Wilson's career. He comes into Seattle. They've got a good defense. They run the ball with Marshawn Lynch. Russell makes enough plays. And then he developed over time, they say, let Russ cook, whatever, shotgun. Then he's more of a passing threat. So I'm excited about Jalen Hurts. In regards to CJ Stroud, I'm not a big fan. I think he's got incredible potential. He's a great prospect. I think he's got great arm talent. I've seen him make some really, really, really impressive throws. So I don't question the talent. I question his mindset. I question how he handles adversity. Like last year was his redshirt freshman year. I wanted them to bench him.
Yeah.
Because he was playing terribly and he looked rattled, and he just doesn't strike me as a guy that will successfully lead an NFL locker room. But he's young. He's really young, and that can change. But I'm always happy I want to see these quarterback hungry teams, reach, take these quarterbacks, and then we get to pick, unbiasedly, unemotionally, not from a desperate situation, and say, oh, Will Anderson's here. Oh, Jalen here. Brian Breesy, Eli Ricks, Khalil Ringo, I think.
Yeah.
And there's more that I'm not even thinking about, man. There are some good offensive linemen,
Yeah.
which I don't think we need to take one.
No, I mean the only thing you could argue, I think, is guard. Say Malu, replace Sayamalu if you think you can get someone who's that guy. But the rest of our line, I think, is set, man. We haven't seen a ton from Cam Jurgens, when Kelsey decides to retire, but what we've seen, I've liked so far.
Yeah. It's good. I'm excited about. I really hope that. And I know we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but I'd really like to see us add a running back to the mix. I think in the second round, would be a good time. Even a third round, like, everybody wants to hit that late round pick, like this guy Pierce in Houston, James Robinson in Jacksonville, I think was undrafted. Like, you find these guys that are like scheme specific, like they're good at the outside zone, or they're good at the zone concepts, whatever. I'd like to get a running back to add to the mix and get some because I don't think Sanders will be back, unless he takes a team friendly deal.
Right.
So, okay. Well, excited for the NFL draft. Gonna keep watching and see what players are on the radar.
Yeah.
I could also see potentially maybe a safety if there's a great safety prospect. I really liked Kyle Hamilton last year. But any final words, Ryan, about the Commanders or Jalen Hurts or NFL draft?
No, not really. I'm ready to get Jordan Davis back already. So I think we got 2 more weeks, maybe 2 to 3 more weeks without him.
Will we have him back for the Tennessee game?
I'm not sure. What do we have? We have Washington, then the Colts.
I think so.
So we have maybe. I mean, potentially. I did see that he was progressing. He seemed to be doing well. There's no setbacks yet or anything like that. So hopefully that'd be a huge get if we can, even on a limited snap count would be nice when early downs. Bring him in when they know we're gonna run. I mean, the Titans are gonna run the ball regardless. They don't care who you put in there. They're gonna run the ball because that's what they do. That's their identity. Yeah. I would guess they're probably up there in the top 3 on running percentage wise. But no, I hopefully we have him back. And if not, hopefully we game plan accordingly. Because you can lose a game. The Titans aren't a bad team, man. You can lose a game like that.
Titans have a very good roster, man.
Yeah, and they just run the ball. They're literally just an old school team that just run the ball consistently. Derrick Henry's get 25 carries a game. Yeah. And I mean they're not a untalented roster or anything like that, but I think everyone expected them to just be what they were last year, minus AJ Brown, and it's just not really how it works. But yeah, hopefully Davis is back. That would be ideal for us for sure.
All right, brother. Good to connect, guys. Thanks for watching another episode of Bird Brothers. Please give this video a thumbs up, like, subscribe. We're going to be talking Eagles football once a week, and we have all the answers when it comes to Eagles football, so you definitely want to tune in. See you guys.